you so much for devoting. So would love to kick this session, as I said, by welcoming our dear panelists, Mr. Salah Tayar and Miss Lydia. And I would love to say thank you so much for devoting this time to us. It is a huge honor to have you here with us. And I would love to also to say hello to all of those who are joining us, whether from cohort team, ambassadors, or even the new faces that joined us today. So thank you so much. As usual, there are always some reminders that I have to point out. So please, dear attendees, make sure to keep your mics muted for the whole webinar. Don't interrupt our panelists while speaking, because as you know, your favorite part is always included. Like there will be always enough time to ask all of your questions in the Q&A part. Also give comments or anything you may want to share later on. So I also want to use this time to remind you to take a look at our social media platforms. Inosh will post them all in the comments. Follow us if you want. I'm just asking you to take a look at our social media platforms, and if you want, you can always follow us. Well, you better do this, but yeah, I'm just kidding. So these are some remarks that I wanted to remind you with, and absolutely the chat box is always open to you for interactions or any comments that you want to share. You may want to share. So let me go back to our amazing panelists again. I know you're all excited to know who are we having with us today. As usual, amazing panelists with outstanding backgrounds and achievements. So without further ado, let me read their bios for you. Again, ladies first, right? And I hope men don't mind. I insist on that. So Miss Lydia Ingabar, please, I apologize if I mispronounced your family name. I know it's Lydia, but Ingabar, I'm not pretty sure about that. So I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. So Miss Lydia is a labor market matching specialist at Rwanda Development Board with 5 years of professional experience. She specializes in implementing strategic interventions, ensuring labor market demands measure up to labor market supply. Such interventions include closing the information gap sorry, refuse. So as I said, my apologies for that. Closing, as I said, my bad for that. So as I said, Lydia, some of her interventions include closing the information gap and reducing skills mismatch. Lydia understands that Africa's greatest treasure is its young population, and this is why her mission is enabling our young people to access economic opportunities. And I think that's really amazing. In her profession, Lydia is ambitious and regularly develops the tools that assist colleagues to work efficiently. She doesn't only enjoy debating challenging topics, but also reading good informative books. Lydia is a graduate of Belhaven University, where she majored in global studies and biological sciences, and currently pursuing master's program in international business management. And I really wish you the best with that. So thank you so much, Ms. Lydia, for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Salma, and the rest of the team, and thanks for that warm introduction.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work. You're doing a great job. All the best with your master, with your MBA. Our second panelist is actually Mr. Tayar Salahuddin, or I would say my boss at Algerian Youth Ambassadors. And he also from the same country of mine, which is Algeria. So glad to introduce you. It's my pleasure as well. So Mr. Tayar Salahuddin graduated from University of Algiers III with master's degree in political science and international relations, founder and president of Algerian Youth Ambassadors Foundation, United Nations consultant for the UN 75, African Union Youth Volunteer Corps Cohort 11, took part in several major events as a panelist and moderator, such as International Volunteer Forum, UN High Level Political Forum, the Economic and Social Council, the ECOSOC Youth Forum, Mr. Salahuddin took part in Russian African Summit and Global Citizenship Education Ministerial Summit. I hope I did not miss any of your guys' amazing achievements. So, Mr. Salahuddin, thank you so much for joining us today, and it's a huge pleasure to have someone from my country being a panelist in here. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, dear Selma. Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be your guest today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now I would love to give the floor to Mr. Inash, the founder of and the president of African Rebirth. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Salma, for the warm introduction and giving the warm welcome at African Rebirth. We claim a virtual space. We claim it, but virtual space, you can't claim it anywhere. So welcome, everyone. It's such an honor to host wonderful young leaders doing amazing things, not yet in their 50s. So that's a plus to me. So welcome, Lydia. Lydia works with the Rwanda Development Board, which is the #1 organization that connects businesses in Rwanda, for investment. Tia, a young diplomat, works with the United Nations as a consultant. So those are not easy bios. So that's why we want to hear what drives you. So today the topic is very good, and all of you, first of all, look excellent, just like the topic states. So we are going to explore what can we make to make excellence a lifestyle, not just a condition, in many young African leaders. And I will just start with Lydia, as ladies first. If someone says excellence, if someone says that I'm aiming for excellence, what do you understand? In simple terms, what do you understand by just excellence?
Thank you so much, Enoch. Now, excellency is, in simple terms, I would define it as doing the best of your abilities and contributing to what is needed. If you're saying we're looking at strategies that drive development, look for an efficient solution that requires, if you have limited resources, use those limited resources to produce the maximum results that you can get. So that's excellence.
Wonderful. Using maximum results and resources to achieve something greater than you. Mr. Tia Salah, what do you understand by that?
Well, thank you, Enoch, for the invitation, and it's an honor for me to be your guest today with my fellow Africans, and it's a great honor for me to be also the guest of Selma today. Well, talking about reaching excellence, I think that thinking to be looking for excellence means that you are thinking as a leader. And we say that there is a proverb: don't limit your challenges, but challenge your limits. So if you are looking for excellence, you started challenging your limits, and you are looking for not challenging others, but you are challenging yourself to learn more, to develop your skills, and also to reach your objectives. So this is reaching excellence for me. It's start to think as a leader and start challenging your limits, because we all do have a certain limit. It can be in terms of language, it can be in terms of skill, in terms of resources, as Lydia mentioned. But once you start challenging those limits, you can reach the excellence for sure. However, no one is perfect. No one is perfect, but you can reach excellence by always looking to develop yourself.
Wonderful. So no one is perfect. That means that excellence is just work in progress, doing it in a higher standards. But we like, learning from people's experiences. And research has shown that people remember people's stories than pure academic work or theoretical work. I want to ask Lydia and Tia and Salah, tell us your experiences and how have they shaped you at a young age doing the work you're doing, what has put you on the, on the roadmap? What has shaped you? What has, motivated you not to be not an average young leader, but striving for excellence and keeps you going, and you're outstanding?
Thanks, Enoch. I think personally, there are two things that keep me going and have always been at the back of my mind. One is the failure. I really, I just can't think, even the thought of it just wakes me up. And then two, the fear of poverty. It's such a limiting mindset that I don't want to settle for less. It's like every time I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to be at the best of what I'm doing? Even if it's academics, even if it's just any chore that I'm given, I want to do it at the best, to the best of my abilities. And that has kept me going and has allowed me not to limit myself. I remember as a young person saying that you're going to apply for a job at an established institution. Sometimes it may cause fear, but being in a position where you don't limit yourself. So you're like, oh, I know it's a big institution, but if someone can work there, why not me? So being proactive, taking the step and not fearing that, oh, that's too big for me. Giving it your best and shooting at it is it's one of the things that has kept me going.
Wonderful. Those are very incredible factors. The fear of poverty, failure. I hope everyone here fears failure. So it will keep you on your toes. How about Mr. Salah? What keeps you going? Like keeping on the roadmap, being an excellent leader.
Thank you again for this incredible question. What keeps me going, and I hope all those who are attending this webinar today, they keep going and seeking for achieving their objectives. Simply, maybe it can be shocking for some of those who are attending, but rejection, simply, Mr. Enoch. Rejection who keeps me pushing always. I am a person who get used to rejection first, because you cannot achieve something, you cannot realize something without being rejected, without being rejected at your community, by the society, by administrations, by the challenges, and even by your weaknesses, because by the end of the day, don't blame the society and don't blame your family or your resources, but you need to blame yourself, because you still didn't reach a certain stage to get access to what you are looking for. So I hope that all the youth and young leaders, they must get used to rejection, because getting used to rejection is already a skill. Because failure is hard, and the feeling of failure is very, very hard. And I've been through a lot of failures, but getting used to it makes me, like, for example, right now, if I don't get rejected, I don't feel okay. Because rejection became my source of motivation and my source of moving forward. Right. If I give you an example, this week, or this weekend, like, I received a lot of rejection emails, but today I'm attending this webinar, which I consider as an opportunity to develop my network. So I hope I answered your question very well, and I don't know how much time I have, but I think we will develop more during this webinar.
Well, I've never had someone say that rejection is that source of motivation. That's how could I call it, an exotic way of solving 21st century skills and problems. That's amazing. Of course, like, people get rejected, get miserable, and to keep you going, like, rejection is positivity of the mind that you achieve. Just like Lydia said, being proactive. My mentor tells me that all the forces, all the universe is working towards you, is working for you in your favor. So a small pin in rejection doesn't mean take out the rule of the universe. So that's very incredible. Okay, let's now go. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Enoch. Maybe if you allow me to develop more why it is a source of motivation.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll take just 1 minute, because if you are rejected,
yeah,
you are still limited by skills, still limited by resources, still limited by knowledge. Yeah. So this rejection, you need to consider being rejected as a new opportunity to develop more your skills, to look more for excellence, to look more for more knowledge in order to get what you are looking for. It can be a job, it can be an access to a university, it can be to implement a project. You are rejected because you still don't have enough resources, you still don't have enough skills. So this rejection is made by a human being, because we are all human and we are dealing with the humans. So certainly this leader, you are being rejected always by a leader, and especially when you are dealing with transparent and credible institutions, for example, like the UN, like the African Union, like I don't know, even the society, because if you are accepted by society and rejected, means you are the individual who is wrong, because the society, you are dealing here with public, so you need to fit what goes with the public, with the majority. So consider rejection always as an opportunity to develop more yourself, and also to correct what's wrong with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So rejection is a source of self-reflection for better. Let me go now to a more practical, professional one. At times, today is the 21st century, and the word really out there is competitiveness. What matters is where and not where you come from. What matters is you being competitive. And as the globe is getting more interconnected, forces of globalization sweeps in every angle. Even if you are in rural Africa, but they will find you there. So Lydia and Salah, shares with you what skill set can really fit an excellent 21st century leader to stand out and be out there. And I want you to touch more on personal branding, because you do a lot of those webinars. What branding really stands out? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Enoch. When it comes to the 21st century, like you said, we have globalization, which is, taking over the country, just like the globe. And there is, what I can say, the world is more connected than ever. So if you're in a small country like Rwanda, I would say, you will find that there are more people. So if you're not able to deliver, someone else is going to come and deliver. Now, how do you stand out as a person, as a young person? I've narrowed it down to 3 important skills. Having the hard skills in whatever field of specialization is very key. But what I can say is I'm just going to point out 3 critical skills that are really important to have as a young person. And one is problem solving. This is true across all sectors. Think about it. If an employer is hiring you, he's hiring you to solve a particular problem. If you belong to an organization, that organization has a vision, and you have to deliver to that vision. Now, for you to stand out, you have to have that thinking of, okay, how do I solve this problem efficiently and quick? That will help you move steps forward, because as you solve one problem, you get noticed. Then 2, which also feeds into problem solving, and I pointed it out earlier, is proactiveness. As a young person, sometimes you get setbacks because you're young and everyone thinks you don't have the experience. But if you set yourself out to solve a particular problem, even if it's not in your job description,
Yeah.
but you take the step forward to think about it and find a strategic solution to it, that's a plus. Now, the last point that sticks out and speaks to personal branding, it's networking. And this comes in various forms. And I want to point out, we were hit by the global pandemic and we had to live in closed doors, but we do have the internet. Social media is a big part, and as young people, we're familiar with it and we should use it.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great tool to connect with different professionals in different fields. So it's a great tool to use for you to network and connect. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to just find someone and connect with them, but it also speaks to, it's also a platform that gives you a way of expressing your talents, your passions, as you communicate them. Now, in every set of environment, be in your workplace, be it even in the virtual world, social media, you can use even Instagram, you can use LinkedIn, you can use Twitter to share your talent and your passion. That will really stick out, and it will get you noticed. And that's how you keep on building your brand. And so you put yourself, you put an image out there that says, oh, when I hear Enoch's name, Enoch is someone who is interested in building Africa. See, if there comes a project that, aims at building African youth, that is the person who will come into mind, because I see him online, what he posts, how he communicates, what he points out there. That is where, that's his niche, like that's his portfolio. And that's how you brand yourself and market yourself to, you don't keep your CV at the back of your laptop. No. Make sure you communicate it to the world. What is it that you have to offer? What is it you're passionate about? What have you been delivering on? What do you have to offer to the world? That is the thing that will speak for you behind closed doors. I think I'll conclude there.
Wow, you spoke the whole of it. Networking, your network is your net worth. Like you said, thank you very much. Incredible. Problem solving, networking, I was taking notes, and proactivity, being positive. How about you, Mr. Salah? How do you stand out in the very competitive global world? How do you stand out like a young leader?
Well, indeed, it is very competitive nowadays in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have enough access, especially in the African continent, we don't have enough access to quality education, for example. And this what makes it more challenging. And also lack of employment makes it like impossible. However, you need always to stand out and face those challenges. So this is what why I mentioned you need to challenge your limits, and also challenge your environment you are living in. And in the opposite way, let me tell you that all this mess, if you allow me to say it, it is considered also as an opportunity once you are abroad. Because before I start mentioning the skills needed and everything, let me tell you that abroad, for example, if you go to attend the summit, like attending a summit, it is already considered as an achievement, because it is not allowed for everyone. So being invited is based on your background, based on your skills, based on your network, on your achievements, on what you are doing at the local level. I will repeat, is based on what you are doing at the local level. Means what you are doing in Algeria, what you are doing in Africa, what you are doing within your community, because they are not abroad in, like, for example, in major countries like the United States of America, the United Nations headquarters in New York, in Russia, in the UK. They are not looking for perfect individuals with perfect certificates from, let's say, perfect universities, but they are looking for young leaders who are taking action at the local level, who are impacting young people at the local level where there is a lot of challenges. And we all agree that in Southern countries like Africa, like America Latina, like Asia, there is a lot of challenges. So doing something here is already considered as an achievement. And this is what makes you the good person for them. For example, for me, I am what I call the young people and young Africans, first to be proud of being African, to be proud of your language, to be proud of your nationality, to be proud of your culture. Because for me, from like personal experience, all my achievements, all the opportunities that I got from different countries, from different institutions, because I am from Algeria and because I am from Africa. They are looking for this. So you need to value your identity first, value your language. They are looking for those who they need to share the language, to share the expertise with them in order to implement this at the local level. For example, let's give some examples. For example, if you are working on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, or more specifically, like in Algeria Youth Ambassadors, we focus more on Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education. So for sure, you need to speak Arabic if you wanna implement this at the local level, because in Algeria, the official language and the mainly spoken language is Arabic. So at the United Nations, for example, or the UNESCO, they look for individuals who are taking action at the local level, who they speak Arabic, who they are already organized in civil society organizations, and they are taking action. So this is what they look for. Talking about the skills, you need to be a solution-oriented person. You need to be able to think, to evaluate, to analyze, and also to decide clearly and quickly. You need to learn how to take decisions. And especially after taking the decisions, don't listen to those who tell you that you took the decision too quickly. You should have waited for this. No, a leader, and more specifically a diplomat or a young diplomat, he takes the decision at the right moment and at the right time. Because if you tell me that you should have waited 1 week or 1 month or 1 year before taking this decision, there is variables of time and place. And I'm sure that after 1 month, my decision will be, the influence of the decision that I will take will be different. However, it must be taken at that moment. Also, you need to be a goal-oriented person. You need to know where you are going. If you are involved in an organization, if you are attending now this webinar, why you are you need to define why I am attending this webinar, what I'm looking for. Maybe you are looking for to develop your network. This is a goal. This is a goal-oriented skill. This is how a goal-oriented leader must think. I am attending this webinar today in order to develop my network. That this is great. However, if you are attending webinars, being involved in civil society organizations, attending summits and conferences with no objectives behind, with no goals behind, this is maybe you are not in the perfect place to be. Also, you need also to look. We know that we all face problems in our daily lives, and problems are part of our daily life. We do not think how to escape from our problems. And maybe if you can raise your hands via the option on Zoom, if you are facing problems daily on your lives or not, maybe you can, in order to proceed. Can you please raise your hand if you are facing problems daily in your life? Okay, so we have few hands already.
But not daily though. It's just monthly or something.
Okay, we still have some hands. Okay, so if you face problems in your daily lives, don't escape from the problems, and also don't be part of the problem. If you are being part of the problem, means that you are being a negative person, you are impacting your network, your environment, your society, even your family, even yourself in a negative way. Try to be always part of the solution. So being part of the solution means, and let others know that this person is always seeking for peace. This person is a peaceful person. He is always being part of the solution, not being part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Also people will notice that this person or this leader, or let me say, this change agent is a person who forgives others. Forgiveness also is an important skill. Being a peaceful person also is an important skill nowadays. And also humility. No matter you reach, even if you reach the top, and I call you all to look for excellence and reach the top. However, don't lose your humility, because being an achiever, when you look for achievements, the more you look for achievements, the more you are being rejected. But once you are accepted, don't leave your community behind. Don't leave your country behind. Don't leave your identity behind. You need always to get back to your community and share what you learned with them. You need always to get to your community and impact your community in a positive way in order to produce more change agents, in order to produce more young leaders. And I hope I didn't take enough time, Mr. Enoch.
Thank you so much. Now you're sharing the valuable and the momentous skills. So I want to touch on like humility, not forgetting where you come from. So I assessed the idea of keeping your identity intact. Don't forget your identity. It's very important, because you can't prosper if you don't know where you're coming from. So I want to go to a second question. Oh, Lydia is off. Anyway, she'll come back. I want to go to the second question, is that, there are challenges. Environment matters. When you grow up in a certain environment, you have certain ideologies, you have certain ideas, ambition, and aspiration. But speaking from an African perspective, what are the, okay, let me admit her. Sorry, she's coming in. Okay, good, she's in now. What are the things that really limit the spirit of excellence, the mentality of excellence? What are those factors? Why can't we have a vibrant, energetic, but also people who do stuff, not people who talk about problems and solutions, but who actually apply those solutions? Why are those things lacking? Because if everyone here is presented with a problem, we know the problem, we even know the solution, but implementation is not there. And it cuts across to our leadership, to our politics, to our social lives. What is really lacking to limit a mindset of excellence in many young people, specifically young people? You want to take on that, Salah?
Well, this is a very deep question, actually. Well, it depends. Honestly, it depends on where you live, on the country you are living. It depends on also the community or the society you are living with, and also it depends on the project you want to implement. For example, to be honest with you, here in Algeria, and when I say in Algeria, it doesn't mean that it's not a good country to live. But let me tell you that I've been to different countries in different continents. In each country, there is, let's say, negative points. For example, here in Algeria, we do have bureaucracy. When I say bureaucracy, it is indeed a challenge for you to implement a project. It is a challenge even to organize a conference or to organize a workshop. However, you need to face those challenges. How? With motivation and also with persistence. And actually those challenges and those negative points, who will value as a change agent? Because a leader or a young leader, and even let's say the top of the leaders, for example, the president of a country or the United Nations Secretary General. Of course, I said at the beginning, no one is perfect. And even the UN headquarters in New York is not perfect. And actually, the actual Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, in 2017, he came with the reforms of the United Nations. He came with an agenda in order to make reforms in United Nations administration. And he himself, as the Secretary General of the United Nations, said that there is bureaucracy in the United Nations. And I all call you to check on the United Nations, on the UN 75 declaration adopted in September last year, where it contains all those details related to making reforms in the United Nations, and also to engage other stakeholders. Because before it was only focused on, let's say, governmental institutions and official representatives. However, starting from last year, after the UN 75 declaration adopted, now the civil society, the business, the academia, the media also, they can be part of the decision making in the United Nations. So in Algeria, we do face bureaucracy. Maybe not in other countries in Africa, we don't have bureaucracy, but maybe we do have other problems in other resources. Also in Algeria, let's say Algeria is the biggest country in Africa and is the 10th biggest country in the world. For example, here in Algeria, once we organize events, some of our participants, like they cross more than 500 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers in order to attend one-day event. And I salute all the members who attended our previous events during this year. So distance can be also a challenge. However, if you are motivated enough, if you are persistent enough, and you know what you are looking for, of course you will face those barriers, if I may say, and move forward. One other thing, Enoch, I want to focus more is in order to value what you have. You need to value what you have. For example, now we do have access of internet. Access of internet is, let's say, it's something that maybe others don't have. So we can use access of internet in order to implement our project. So what I mean in order to value what do you have, don't get inspired by others who do have what you don't have. I don't know if you got me, but don't get inspired by others who already acquire those resources, acquire the knowledge that you cannot have, or maybe it takes a lot of time in order to get. For example, if you start talking now about artificial intelligence, or start talking about entrepreneurship, and there is bureaucracy in your country, it is very hard to implement this. You can look for implementing your project in other countries. I'm not asking you to leave your country, which is already a challenge that we are facing, especially in the African continent, which is brain drained. All our, let's say, all our elite is leaving the continent and going to work in Europe and in America. However, you can implement your project since it is achievable. If your project is achievable, if your objectives are achievable, you can reach those objectives abroad. You can go, for example, if you have a project in sustainable development, for example, in entrepreneurship, if it doesn't work in Algeria, definitely it can work in Botswana or in India. And this is how important networking is. And I come back here and lean with the point that mentioned Lydia a few minutes before. Networking is important, and I've been part of establishing different international networks in order to connect those young leaders, those project holders, those civil society organizations, presidents, and also those young entrepreneurs with each other. And now we are trying to implement our projects in different countries where it doesn't work. For example, if it doesn't work in Argentina, definitely it can work in Switzerland or in Russia. And this is how important networking is, and how networking being part of international networks. So you need also to think globally with what you get at the local level.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Lydia, when you just came in, we're talking about everyone wants to be excellent. I don't think there is anyone who doesn't want to be excellent, not at all. That's not a human being. That's another species. But the reality is not everyone becomes excellent. So it comes again to environment that you grow up in that shapes you. What do you think is limiting young African leaders to be excellent as we are? What the way we should be? What are those factors that are limiting? Because these are realities that we live with. And how should we overcome them, you know?
Thanks, Enoch. I think there's a couple of ways that we could become more efficient and avoid mediocrity. And one is being responsible and setting bigger goals.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like when you initiating a project, don't look at it as something for today, this year, thing that will last longer. And then, so that gives you a longer vision to focus and to work onto something that is going to last longer and to be sustainable. Now, the other thing that would help in implementation and making sure something is done and is done right is the process of what I call upgrading. When it comes to the department that I work in, which is skills development, so we do consider something that's like upskilling and reskilling. That is really important, because I'm going to give a very familiar example of the iPhone. The iPhone 4, 5, S, X plus, S plus. So they're always upgrading and improving it and making it better. See, if you have that kind of mindset, you won't settle for less. You're always upgrading, but you find, and this is something that in the continent, like on the continent, we need to learn, because we've had a history of sticking to the tradition. This is how things have always been done. We need to give room for improvement.
The gods will punish you.
Yeah, the gods will punish you if you move away from, like, this is like, if something has always been this way, there's no need to change it. No, definitely there should be room for improvement. That's how we get better. That's how we get to implementing better things for ourselves. I think it's a really key thing that we should learn and implement. Always upgrading, even if it's your skills. You got your master's in 2000, like, so many things have happened ever since. The technologies are new. You need to be updated, keep yourself with the pace. So that will help us to move past the barriers and past the mediocrities and past, just being there, and getting things that are outdated. It doesn't work. So always upgrading, having that mindset of improving, reskilling, upskilling yourself, being informed, being up to date, and always aiming to make better progress. Today you have an S, make it S plus, make it X plus. You see, that brings the level of quality, and it diminishes the mediocrity.
Absolutely. Scaling. That's why this guy's iPhone, I think they are going to have iPhone 100, the always. But if you look at the level of, the iPhone, Apple is worth $1 trillion. But these guys are hungry for development as if they are worth $500. But look at people who are not even worth $1,000. People are just seated comfortable. So it should be a great example to keep, improving and avoid. But I want to touch on work ethic. And this is where the dilemma is. When you maybe you travel somewhere, when you look at the work ethic, people, commitment to time, commitment to super standard communication. It's really a big problem. And I will be frank, because this is an African platform. Back home, it's very, very hard to keep, for example, if we are supposed to start at 12 exactly, people can afford to come at 30, and that's the person who comes early, by the way. So people waste a lot of time. How do we abolish this mindset? It really itches me so hard. Like, how do we look at, we are 1,000 years back development, but again, we are very comfortable. It's like we top the world. How do we abolish this mindset? Communication. Someone even has a problem, you have to work with a project, has a serious issue, but affords to keep quiet and affords to, this mindset of work ethic. I don't know how I can stress it a lot, but what's your saying? How do we abolish that? Lydia, you want to go first?
Salah, do you want to go first?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll pass the mic to Salah.
Okay, thank you, Lydia. Well, actually, I thank you for your honesty, Enoch, because this is one of the challenges we face here. I simply call it lack of self-discipline, which I call all the young leaders to work on this. You need to respect others. If you came late, you are being disrespectful to others. And the thing is, and the challenge, Mr. Enoch, is when, for example, if you organize a meeting and your guests come late, and you mention this, they are the ones who tell you that you are being disrespectful for us because you are telling this, and they start finding excuses. So my advice is to work more on your self-discipline, because if you wanna reach your objectives and if you wanna reach excellence, excellence has no nationality, excellence has no religion, and has no language. So you can, if you can reach excellence in Uganda or in Algeria or in South Africa, same thing as you can reach excellence in United States or in Canada or in Brazil or even outer space. So being like working more on self-discipline is actually nowadays is a skill. So the challenge how we can abolish this is by fighting mediocrity, Mr. Enoch. How we can fight this? We can fight this by implementing projects, by taking action at the local level. How we can take action at the local level? For example, we all been abroad to different events, and we saw how they respect the work ethics.
Yeah.
For example, here in Algeria, I'll give you always an examples. Even at the volunteer work, even like as a volunteer, you need to respect this work ethic, because all the big institutions or the big companies, they have a volunteer, let's say, program. It is like the starter. Being a volunteer is already considered as a starter of an international career. Yes. Because nowadays, if you don't have they will ask you always for your volunteering experience. If you don't have a volunteer experience, maybe you cannot get the job you are looking for, especially at the UN. There is a whole institution, organization, which is UN volunteers. There is FIFA volunteers, for example, Coca-Cola volunteers. So this is important to volunteer. Volunteer will give you the opportunity to get used to self-discipline, get used to high standards work ethics, We are talking here about high standards. If we give you an appointment at 8 o'clock, you need to be here at 8 o'clock. If I tell you that we need to speak in English, we need to speak in English. Don't use other words in other languages or in other dialects, because we are in an international environment and a multicultural environment. Maybe I can consider it as something being harmful said because I don't understand this language. This is how we start shaping our skill of self-discipline, which is very, very important. How we abolish it? By taking action at the local level and inviting and let's say not inviting only, but engaging different stakeholders, engaging like stakeholders from administration, from let's say economic field, economic sector, from different ministries, from different other civil societies who are working only at the local level, engaging with scientific clubs, with universities, and not teach them, but try to influence them in a positive way, in order that this is the correct way. This is how we can reach excellence. This is how to work on an international standards. If you don't follow this, you cannot go far. It is always by making an impact at the local level, not by saying directly, hey, you are not respectful, you are being disrespectful because you came late. No, you influence. For example, if I say we start at 8 or at 9, the workshop or the webinar or the conference or the meeting, we start at 9, even if one only came, if one attended. Next time, I'm sure that all of them, they will come half an hour before. So this is just related to time. And it is very fast but we cannot abolish this, but we can start working on it by influencing others, influencing our community. For example, in Algeria Youth Ambassadors, now we are over 300 members from across the country. We can influence our community in the 300, and it can be enlarging by time. But if you have 300 individual who is who acquired the self-discipline skill, and he can lead different projects in different regions, they can influence 1,000, they can influence 2,000, and by the end of the day we will be influencing like 100,000, 200,000 people, and start growing as a mindset. And start changing. We start changing this mindset of mediocrity. This is how we can do it. This is the only way, not by accusing others, but by influencing them in a positive manner. And thank you.
Lydia?
Thanks. I think, so I'm going to start with, you know, in the workspace, speaking from experience in Rwanda, you tend to see people fearing leadership. Now, that creates, that breaks the cycle of communication in a way that if a leader says, we're starting the meeting at 8, and someone is going to be late, but because they fear the leader, they won't communicate. Now, that even if they're going to be late, so you find people having that fear. It's like, just tell me you're going to be late. How many minutes? 15 minutes, so I know in advance. So if we can, you know, allow the leaders to come to the people and be more open, more friendly, that will help, you know, the people and setting the boundaries. The second thing I want to talk about when it comes to time management, it's very critical. I always find it ironic when someone says we're starting the meeting at 8 and they don't state the ending time. It's like, so starting from 8 until when? You see, it's very good that when, you know, as someone, if you're setting a meeting, please specify we're having a meeting from 8 to 9. so that I know I can plan my activities after that. And like Salah said, it's important to, as a leader, to set the precedence and say, okay, if we said it's starting at 8, let's start at 8. Doesn't matter if it's one person. That says, that sends a message to whoever is late. Because when you delay saying you're waiting for other people, the person who made the time to come on time, next time will also be late. It's like, I mean, they're going to wait for everybody to come, so I might as well finish my agenda here before I can move on. So it's really good on a personal level, you can set that precedence and say, okay, we're starting at 8, ending at 9. Now, if you have any agenda items that are not met by the time you said the meeting will end, always feel free to email to the people or send a message so that people will know that when Enoch says it's 8, it's 8. And when he says it's 8 to 9, it's 8 to 9. He won't go over. So that kind of precedence gives, it stays with people's minds, and, it helps moving forward. And then the last point I want to comment about, work ethics. It's good to be in a position where you are able to deliver. It's not more so on how much time have I spent at work. Am I at work at 8 to 5? No, if I have a job that needs to be done, I can do it in 6 hours, move on. So it's not about how much time I'm spending at the office. It's about, have I delivered? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's the important part. So making sure you deliver on time, even before time, it's great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for the wonderful interactions. I will hand over to Salma to handle the Q&A, our moderator. But it has been a very insightful session. I must say that. Thank you so much. Salma?
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Inash. Well, basically, again, a very interesting discussion we're taking part in. So thank you so much, Miss Lydia and Mr. Salah. Thank you so much for the interesting inputs that you took the time to share with us. It really means a lot to us. Now, guess what? Your favorite part arrived, which is answering your questions. So please, the floor is open to you to ask your questions and share your comments. If you want to raise your hand, then just raise it or type in the chat box, which is better. Okay, so we already have some questions. Again, the chat box is open for you for your questions, comments, suggestions, whatever you want to ask. Also, you can always raise your hand if you want to say it instead of writing it. So guys, or everyone, the attendees, the floor is yours. All right, so I will start reading some questions from the chat box that I already had. Okay, there is one, which was from Kabija. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, correct? So Kabija, this is a question for you, Mr. Salah. So she said, how can you manage to not be part of your problem and while not walk away from your daily problems? So she just curious to know that.
Sorry, hi again, yeah. Salma, can you please repeat the question? I cannot find it on the chat
She
box.
said, yes, okay, I'm gonna post it again. So she said, how can you manage to not be part of your problem and while not walk away from your daily problems? It's like how, okay, I'm gonna just put it in the chat box so that you can read it and understand it.
Great.
Okay. Okay, here you go. Yes, so since you asked about problems, you were talking about problems and you asked us to raise our hands. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, what I said is don't be part of the problem. Means that in our daily life, we face always negative people. Those individuals, unfortunately, who are harmful or being harmful to us or to what we are doing. So while facing those problems, don't be part of the problem is simply don't be a harmful individual. You need to be a change agent. You need to care about others, not be the enemy of the others. This is what I wanted to say in a different way. So don't be part of the problem. And if you face a problem, try to be part of the solution by forgiving others. Sometimes you can ignore those individuals. Maybe sometimes ignorance also, it can be part of resolving a problem. If you don't interact with those individuals, if you don't interact with those problems you are facing, or ignoring the problems in general way, it can resolve the problem. Because if someone try to being harmful to you today, and you interact with him or you react with him today, the influence can be harmful if you react with him after 1 week. After 1 week, he can be less harmful than being harmful on the day of he wants to influence you with his negative energy. So always try to be part of the solution. Being part of the solution is trying to find peaceful solutions, trying to always think on how to forgive others, because if you always insist on taking those negative vibes into consideration, those negative vibes will keep you always behind reaching your objectives and reaching your goals. So always look for positive energy and try to avoid this negative energy by being part of the solution, by forgiving people, taking peaceful decisions, and also being, let's say, with the skill, develop the skill of humility. No matter how you reach, no matter your position, no matter your place you are living, no matter your income, try always to face all the people, face all your community on an equal scale. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salah, for answering that question. I hope it was well explained to you, Khanija. Also, yes, we do have some questions and some hands are raised. Just to not miss that question, I'm insisting on it. We will go back to the hands in a few seconds. There's this question that says, leaders work with a group of followers in the case where some all lack of mindset of excellence. How does one pass that one to other followers? Now, what do they mean by this question is like in a group, there are some leaders who actually do have like this excellence, this mindset of excellence, but like the others do not have it. So how can this group that has it all, that has this excellent mindset, can pass this excellent mindset to the others? So that's this question, like, so that they can move from, so that they can, develop more and enhance their level of working more. So yes, this actually for both panelists, if you want to take this question.
I want to check if I got the question right.
Yeah.
If some leaders have the mindset of excellence and some do not, how does one develop the mindset of excellence? Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. To pass them to the group that doesn't have it. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
So to learn from a group that, sometimes there are different ways of learning. One is observation. So you can observe and learn. And then there are always online courses that you can take that, can facilitate you as a leader. And this also comes back to the upskilling thing that I talked about earlier, is as a leader, or as someone who wants to be a leader, look out, take some time to do a self-analysis, self-assessment. See, okay, what skills am I missing? Where can I get them? We have different sources of, online learning that can help you. There are short courses, courses on Coursera, courses on LinkedIn. All these are resources that are available, even YouTube, these are all resources that are available for you to acquire those skills that you're missing to be a competent and an excellent leader.
Thank you so much, Lydia. I hope that answered your question. I think Asha was the one who asked this. Also, Mr. Salah, would you love to add more to this one, or it's all stated?
Well, what I want to add is to surround yourself with those who share only positive energy. In his question, he mentioned that group of leaders. Mindset. Yes, a group of who lack a mindset of excellence. How they can transfer this from A to B.
Yes, exactly.
Simply by influencing, as I mentioned before, you need to influence. How to influence? By taking action. However, if this group of people in group B, they are not looking for excellence, they don't have the motivation. So even by influencing or taking action, they cannot reach this mindset of excellence because they are not looking for this simply. So, but I understand that those young leaders and those change agents who are looking for excellent mindset of excellence, they are always surrounded with the people who share the same objectives, who share the same values like the others. So simply taking action at the local level, taking action at the community level, and influencing others will give them also the opportunity to speak, the opportunity to take action, the opportunity to take decision, because decision making and making others responsible will help them achieve this mindset of excellence. Because by the end of the day, before you go to sleep, you need to value yourself. What I did, what I achieved, what I did good, what I did bad. And if you think that you did something new, you take new decisions, you impacted a small group, you will, let's say, you will yourself by moving forward. So influencing others is important.
Yeah, thank you so much again for that. And again, it's indeed it's a teamwork, and that's what the good teamwork is all about. Is like always trying to help each other and let's just say develop the ones who are still not on the same ways that we are in. So indeed, I do agree with both points that was shared by Mr. Salah and Lydia. Thank you so much. Amani, would you please take the floor? You can mute your you can mute your mic and ask your question.
Yes. So hello, everyone. I'd like to thank our great panelists today for the amazing webinar they have just gave. So it's one of the best webinars I have participated in. I'd like to thank Ms. Lydia and Mr. Salahuddin for the amazing enlightenment and for everything. I have learned a lot about today's topic, and also our panelists have instilled and implanted in us the spirit of excellency, which I found it really interesting. They have also touched upon very in relation also to valuing our what we have, and also about self-discipline and time management and so on and so forth. So it's really very amazing, and I have learned a lot. I have only one question for the panelists, which is, for example, if you want to reach excellency and
Amani?
of course, we know that every one of us wants something. Sometimes we live in an environment. Yes.
Amani, can you please repeat your question, because you just muted for a second? I think it was the internet. Yeah, just repeat your question. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go and repeat it. So I said, if you live in an environment which emits negativity or negative vibes, like telling you that this thing is not for you, you cannot go ahead, you have to settle for what you have. So, you know, we all have those environments. So how can we deal with that or cope with this negativity if we live in such an environment? So this is my question, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily, for sharing your question. Lydia, ladies first. I'm insisting on that. I hope my men do not mind this. So Lydia, would you like to take this?
Right. Thank you so much. And Aman, and thank you for those great insights. I can hear you got everything that was talked about in this session. Thank you for your question. Now, if you are in an environment that's really limiting you, I say there are two ways. Either you can, speak to them and say that's not helpful, and sometimes you can't speak to them. Now if you can't speak to them, you have to speak to yourself and say, I know these environments are limiting me, but that's not the person I am. Just a personal story here. When I was growing up, really the environment that was surrounding me wasn't that excellent, and it was with people who have accepted life. When you're in an environment where people have accepted their life defeats and they're like, nothing can be done, it's very limiting. However, I spent most of my time in my head imagining better things for myself. Now, your head is one space that no one can occupy but you. So you choose what you keep in your mind, and whatever you have in your mind, whatever you're conceiving, that is what is going to be shown out, and that's what you're going to go after. So I say, if the physical environment is not helping you, try shutting it down from getting to your mind, like your mental space. Now, keep your mental space to yourself and imagine great things for you. And that way you won't even realize it, but the world will come to you, like Enoch was saying. So keep that mental space for you. And it's very possible to keep that. Check out what books you're reading, because again, with the internet, what are you watching on the internet? You can always keep your mental space for yourself, and that will help you, because when the mental space is for you, it drives the actions that you're going to go for. I hope that helps you.
Thank you so much. I already got the perfect answer. Very interesting indeed. Thank you, Miss Lydia.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Amani, for asking your question. And thank you so much, Ms. Lydia, for answering that question. So, Amani, would you like to hear the answer from the other panelists, or it's all good for you now? Amani?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, Mr. Salah, you got the floor. Yes, Mr. Salah, can you hear us? Or probably Amani, would you love to?
Yes, yes. Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Can you just please repeat, because I lost the internet for a second. I didn't catch up the last sentence. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yes, we do hear you. Amani, please.
Yeah, sure. So my question was that how can you deal with or cope with with an environment which let's say which sends out a negativity and pushes you to surrender and keeps telling you that you cannot do that and you have to settle for what you have. So how can we deal with such an environment? Yes, that was my question.
Okay, my first thank you for this. I think it's a challenge for everyone who's living in planet Earth, not only in Algeria or in the Arab world or in Africa. Well, the first advice is don't tell anyone about what you are planning to do till it's done. So this is the first advice, because if you want to tell others, even at your close, even at your small, let's say, community, if you share your plans with them, especially the personal projects, personal plans for your future, definitely they will reject this. Definitely they will say, no, don't do this, because they want you to stay with them, and they want you to stay with their same level. They don't want to see you shining, simply. So always keep it secret till is done, and let them face them with the success. Simply, even with the failure, tell them, okay, I applied for this scholarship, for example, and they got rejected. maybe they will start encouraging you because they will understand that you are looking for opportunities that will makes you a good individual within your community, within your country, and also within your family. You will make that, for example, you will do something that makes your family being proud of you. So the first advice is to keep it secret with yourself. Even with yourself, don't tell. If you can't, sometimes I go very far, but if you can, don't tell yourself about what you are doing. Don't tell yourself. Keep it very secret. And say it once it is done. This is the first thing. The second thing is to take this challenging environment as an opportunity and develop a kind of self-discipline. And also, as I mentioned, consider it as a challenge. And don't take it from a negative point, but take it from positive side. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and I will face the first challenge is that my community or my environment will reject this. So I will try how to convince myself how I can move forward and go to achieve my goal. So, because, for example, if you have a plan, and this is for everyone, you need to plan, or even if you want to apply for a job, you need to plan how to apply for a job. Even the application process is kind of a plan. And it is indeed a process. Sometimes job applications that take from 3 to 6 months. It is a whole process. So in your plan, put all the problems or the issues that you will face in your to-do list. So mention that, okay, I have the first problem, which is the rejection from my environment. I need to find a solution how to encompass this and move forward. So involve this. I don't know how to explain it for you, but be honest with yourself and always put the problems as part of the process. And don't let the problems let you stop where you are or don't achieve what you are aiming for, because problems are always part of the process. So don't escape. So this is the word. Don't escape from the problems, and don't use your problems or your challenges as an excuse for yourself. Don't find excuses for yourself. And I hope I answered your question very well.
Yes, I think Emily, that was more than enough. So thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you so much for guys answering those questions. So let's just take one more question from Celine, and please keep it short for the panelists. Celine, you do have a question, or you just got it? Celia, sorry, Celia. Celia.
No, I wanted to answer her, saying that the most important thing is the self-confidence of a person, because when you believe in yourself, everything, other things never matter.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. So it was a comment. So you see, everyone is giving you tips and comments, and just I hope that just answered your question.
Yeah, it answered it in a very well manner. Thank you for everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Amani, for interacting, for asking your question. It was so interesting. Okay, so we just arrived to the last of the session. We can just call it a day. Thank you so much, everyone, for interacting, for asking questions, for just being interested in our discussions and webinar. It was so amazing having you all with us. Not to mention our panelists who have done a great job, I would say, sharing their experiences and just giving us their tips and pieces of advice. That really means a lot to us, because we're young people and we need this. Really, we do need it. So thank you so much one more time. I would love to give the floor to Miss Lydia. Again, ladies first. Lydia, please, would you love to say some closing words? Please keep it short. Time is running.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for being a wonderful audience. And if there's one thing that I would take, I would like you to take out of this session, is that your personal brand is really important, and work on it. Always share what you're passionate about, share what you want to achieve, and the world is here to help you do that. So make yourself visible. Don't shy away from, what you have. Share with the world. Definitely the world would like to know. That's how you build your brand. That's how everybody knows what you stand for. And thank you very much. If you want to connect with me, I'm available on LinkedIn, and you're welcome to continue the conversation there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Lydia, for that amazing closing. It's really amazing to close it that way. Thank you so much. Appreciate your presence and your time. Yes, Mr. Salah, please try to keep it short. Time is running.
Thank you, Selma. Well, the last thing I want to mention again is, if you are looking for opportunities, if you are looking for gaining excellence, you need first to be proud of being African, be proud of your nationality, and also value your, let's say, Pan-Africanism, because it is the only way that will guide you to gain momentum. If you are not proud about your identity, if you are not being proud of your nationality, you cannot reach what you are looking for, because at the international level, at the international standards, and more specifically at institutions like the United Nations or the African Union, they are looking for people who are willing to impact and willing to make change within their countries. So take all those, let's say, all those advantages into consideration. And I'm sure that being African or being from Uganda or Nigeria or Algeria is already let's say, a criteria in order to reach what you are looking for. And I wish you all good luck.
Thank you so much, Mr. Salah. I really appreciate it. And I wish you also the best in your careers. Keep doing what you guys are doing, because it really inspires us to do more as well, just by following you. So thank you so much again, as well as for your time and for your presence with us. Mr. Inosh, would you love to add some words at the end? Some words at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I thank you very much, Lydia. It's a pleasure, connecting and sharing your knowledge with our fellow young leaders. Lydia is not an old person, as you can see. She's also a young leader, but distinguished young leader. And Mr. Salah, I don't think you are in your late 60s either. You're just a distinguished young leader. So we want to see more young leaders like Lydia, like Salah, taking over Africa. And you know what? I strongly believe that there is no history yet written, or books written, or inventions invented for the potential of young people of Africa, of what they can do. I still believe that the potential is still intact, and we, the young people, have the zeal, have the energy. You have no excuse for not succeeding. There is no valid excuse for success, for you not to succeed. There is no valid excuse. You're not in a war, you are not sick, you are not in any problem. So we have all the potential, the zeal to succeed. And make excellence a lifestyle, not a condition, not something you get from Lydia or Salah and you bank it. It's not like a bank where you put your money and when you're in crisis, that's when you pick it. Make excellence your lifestyle, in your workplace, in your personal life. Before you criticize leaders who are in high position for not being excellent, look at your own life. Am I excellent in what I'm doing? And that's when really Africa will evolve, when we have a bottom-up approach, the whole community organizing towards success. So I thank you very much. Like you know, this is our last webinar, and we're ending our 6 weeks of training. It has been a wonderful moment, and we have our graduation, which is September 4th. So please, we'll have an open debate, cultural diplomacy, presentations. You guys have to present whatever you've learned and share your ideas. So everyone should be there. It will be fun, entertaining, and very short. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's only 1 minute, and I would say have a good night, have a good evening, have a good morning, I would say, whatever you are. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you a very good day, and keep it up. Keep doing good things in Africa, in your communities, because that's us, and we have to be good representatives of our communities and countries. Thank you so much for being here, and I would just say goodbye. Thank you so much. Bye. See